I'd like you to look at some photographs. Here they come. John F. Kennedy, of course. Khrushchev. Fidel Castro. Betty Davis, a much younger Betty Davis. Clark Gable. Grace Kelly. Now, these are the work of a man who's arguably the world's greatest portrait photographer. You don't get this fella chopping the tops off people's heads. There's hardly a famous person of the 20th century who hasn't posed for his lens. Indeed, he says, the one person I can say I truly regret having missed is Chairman Mao. So welcome the very famous, marvelous Karsh of Ottawa. Your reputation as the most famous portrait photographer. To be karshed. Somebody said, I've just been karshed. Who is that?
That was Field Marshal Montgomery.
Yeah.
Although I had photographed him in Paris, he came for a visit, state visit to Ottawa, and he asked the Canadian government that he'd like to be photographed by me, but very early in the morning. And so 9 o'clock, while the Peace Tower bells were ringing, he was giving a press interview. And he rubbed his eyes. He said, if my eyes are somewhat reddish, I have just been karshed.
Karshed.
Now, he added one new word to the English language. You remember, George Bernard Shaw tried all of his life to add 2 or 3 more letters to the alphabet letter, but suddenly it took a warrior, a great soldier, to add one more word.
Karshed. Yes, it's a compliment, isn't it? Did you ever take a picture of Joan?
Yes. Never did her justice, however, but I've had the pleasure of photographing her twice.
There it is. There's a picture there, John. You see.
Oh, where did you get that one?
Don't you like it?
I haven't seen it for a long time.
It's okay, isn't it? Do you like it?
Nice,
She looks
yeah.
like a saint in a stained glass window.
Well, why not?
Is that the way you saw her as a saint?
Well, no, this is one of the many experiments. This is not the one we use, but it's very welcome to see. Because between coming on the dry ice, which made me feel I'm about to meet my creator, suddenly we have stained glass windows. We're all right. We're on our way.
I can tell you, sitting out here, every time I hear a balloon burst, it sounds as if we're all going to meet our
They are
creator.
so considerate. They are so considerate.
Yeah, they're out there jumping up and down on him.
No balloon during my conversation.
No, well, if there's any balloons during your conversation, I shall go back, get the miscreant, and drag him in front of you.
Well, I'll leave that to John to administer the just punishment.
No, he might enjoy that. He might enjoy that. Can't have that. Now, we have a picture here of Churchill, a picture you took of Churchill,
Yes,
which you took
yes.
in 1941. That was your big break,
That
really,
was,
wasn't it?
I have had no rest ever since. It was in December, 30th December 1941.
It's that pose that epitomizes what was called the bulldog spirit. But was he in good humor when he looks in
Well, that
fairly bad
very
form?
attitude took place in the House of Commons when he pronounced those defying words, some chicken, some neck.
Yes.
This is the very attitude. And as I proceeded to photograph, he had a cigar in his mouth, and I felt was quite out of role in a dark hour like that when the victory was yet not altogether in our grasp. I asked him to remove it. He would not hear of it. So without further attempt on my part or thought, it was totally spontaneous. I said, forgive me, sir. By the time I walked back to my camera, the 4 feet, he looked so belligerent he could have devoured me. And then he delivered himself with one of the most eloquent remarks. He said, you can even make a roaring lion stand still to be photographed. And so this is the champion of freedom.
And you took a very pleasant photograph of him as well, that his family...
Yes,
really
his family preferred the smiley picture, which is in my book, and I think you'll find them at the Barbican Center during this exhibition.
Good.
Yes.
Now, what do you look for? I mean, apart from fame, what do you look for in a face?
Oh, I hope more than that. After all, they must have a very good soul and spirit and qualities to be famous, to have enduring fame. And you look for their quality, their inward power, their thoughts, their intention of goodwill towards others. All this is...
Yeah, but I mean, having a photograph taken for most people is as bad as having a tooth out, because you sit there and I mean, I still find it.
No, I'd like you to be more up to date. That is absolutely not true.
There's no need to fight. There's no need to
no
shout
one
it.
associate that.
I'll get them to let off a balloon if you know.
Well, we'll probably exhaust all of them before we finish.
Yeah.
However, there'll be no reason for you to assume that will be like going to the dentist, because you are very photogenic.
Do you know, I'm glad you've come. Never mind me now. But I mean, how do you set people at ease? Do you have to...
Well, I do a great deal of reading about them.
Yeah.
A good deal of information I have, if they are not authors, and if they are in the public eye, the work is being done for me. I go, after having done all this preparation, I go with open mind. And usually these great men and women are in the habit of giving much of themselves to you, so that all your preparation may be totally unused at the time, but you feel you are well armed.
Didn't you prepare a bit too hard for Ernest Hemingway?
Hemingway was rather extraordinary. I made inquiry as to what I could do to meet the great man. They told me he's very easy. You ought to listen, to prepare to enjoy his favorite cocktail, and it was daiquiri. So I went to Havana, and went to the bar, which was La Floridita, and I ordered the daiquiri. So no sooner I'm about to put a sip in my lips than revolution broke out. There was firing. So being tenacious, and I was in line of duty, I had to throw myself on the floor and kept on drinking.
Yeah. Not a drop was spilled as you hit the ground?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely
Bravo.
not.
Oh.
The only way to deal with a revolution is drunk.
Drunk and on the ground.
So the following morning, the American ambassador, Mr. Gardner, and our own Canadian ambassador telephoned at 8 o'clock to Hemingway. They said, Karsh is here. We would like to bring him to you and leave you decide when you may carry on with the photography. So he, after the diplomats left after a few minutes of pleasantry, it was about 8:15 or 8:20. He went to the kitchen and shouted, said, "What would you like to drink, Karsh?" I said, "Daiquiri, if you please, sir." He said, "Good Lord, at this hour of the day?" So there could be too much preparation.
Of course.
Could play boomerang against you. Likewise with Peter Lorre. I worked about an hour and a half and got some splendid pictures, but suddenly when we sat down to have a little dinner together in the evening, he used a candlelight. It was not even his birthday, but one candlelight on the table, and I noticed a fabulous effect under his face. So we started all over again. And the last picture is the very mood of
that
Peter
you wanted
Lorre.
to capture.
Yes.
Well, it's a great pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
I've been a great admirer, as I'm sure everybody has. And thank you, too, for joining.
Thank you.
Karsh, John Garo.